Hey guys, welcome back to the DroneOn Show. I'm Mike.
And I'm Kevin.
And this week we're going to talk about our trip to China. Of course, we had to get a little political with the FAA stuff, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, robot arms, future of drones, and much, much more.
Some of the things that they're doing in China, we're going to talk about that and how we are held back here because of regulations.
And if you really want to know what Mike thinks about the FAA, then just stick around.
Alrighty, let's get into it.
Inquiring about them.
Okay. Well, we're also getting close to figuring out distribution for our end, so it would allow us the margins to sell to retailers like yourself.
Awesome, that would be great.
Yep. But alrighty, sounds good, Josh. You have a good day.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, he talks to a lot of people. I don't know why. Probably because he's an applicator himself. Like,
how has he been so successful, do you think? Like, how has he gone up to...
He lives in Kansas. Kansas is one of the biggest states for agricultural
Did he
crops.
say 12 rigs?
12 rigs.
12 rigs. You guys are rig, probably.
But look at the fields like that he sends me. Like, can you imagine pulling up to a field that looks like this to
So are we just
spraying?
getting into it, or are we going to,
I would just get right into it. That's how most the fields look like in Kansas.
Oh, man. But not every guy in 1 year is going to go up to 12 rigs, though. Like, there's something
no. It's
good
not his
about...
first year. It's his
second
third
year. Third
Okay,
year.
let's get some context. What are we talking about here?
Yep. But we will, Austin. This show doesn't always have to be exactly scripted because oftentimes me and Kevin get fired up and we're talking about all the things that are happening in this drone space, and things change so fast in the drone space that you never know what you're about to talk about when you sit down. But
When these guys sit down, I'm like pushing buttons to get everything fired up because it's like we got to, get this going.
I would
and
just like to say, it's as long as I've been a part of it, it's never been scripted.
No.
It's always been...
Yeah, well, Austin likes to, we're going to talk about, and da. Where's my bubbler?
You don't even have a bubbler.
Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't even have a bubbler.
Fail.
Anyhow, all right, guys. So I just got off the phone with an applicator in Kansas. I sold him his first T40s 3 years ago, and he is up to 12 rigs.
That
and
is
I was
impressive.
just basically giving him some info of some flying I was doing yesterday with the T60X, which is the latest and greatest drone that's available. Flies faster, carries more, just everything about it. I'm starting to really, really like it.
So
But,
I wonder how many acres he's covering in Kansas with 12 rigs.
He told me this stuff, but I don't remember it all of it. But what we really should do is we'll talk to him, bring him on the podcast. I should go out there and run with him.
That would be good.
He said come out anytime and run, so we probably will do that at some point. There's a lot.
But you got fired up thinking about how 60s would even help him amp up what he's doing now with 50s, right?
Yeah, he's doing everything 50s. Well, he had J100s. For some reason, he was thinking maybe this whole DJI thing, moving away from it and going the J100 route, and he was one of the first guys that had 6 of them fall out of the sky, and so he quickly got off of that train.
So this was this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man.
So, he quickly got off of that train and was like, nope, I am going back to the tried and true, tested, it works. So I don't know how much he gets done. I just know he does a lot. I know that he lost a lot of money because of the J100s going down and then also coming in late. I don't know if he sold drones, his 50s prior to buying the 100s, but I know he lost money because of the 100s falling out of the sky, but it's unfortunate. We talked about the 100s before. We definitely don't want to see somebody fail because of it, but how much things were said about it, people started believing in the product without even using it and having a lot of acres on it. So,
Work in progress, but it's getting better, right? They're
figuring
stuff out, we're told. I think they're figuring stuff out.
Yeah, but will they ever be... There's a reason that DJI has like 97% of the world agricultural market. There's a reason for it. I don't know. Does the NDA apply about how many drones were sold in China? Call Ronnie. Ask her. We're going to get into that. We went to China. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever been to China.
That was a fun trip.
Dude, I loved everything about it. Like, I had this perspective before I went. And I was like, just everything I've ever heard of China, like it's dirty, it's smoggy, they don't like us, just all these things, right? That maybe our government tells us, or I don't know. I just had this thing, right? Before I went, I was like, maybe it's not like that. It's actually truly not like that. And they actually like us, like the people of China, not the governments, right? Not the US government, not the China government, the people of China. I got there and it was exactly like I thought that it might be. It's true, good people, hard workers, grind, just go. They're like that one kid that we met that picked us up. Well, let's just tell him the story, and then we'll get into it. But
he ran a drone repair shop for ag drones.
25 years old.
And he lived in the city, right?
Yep.
It's like he had a warehouse, but like that guy has it going on.
Yeah, dude. We got into his battery SUV in China. I'm telling you guys, there's so many battery vehicles in China. Like, it's not just Tesla. Like, there are some Teslas over there, but a lot of different brands.
Yeah,
a lot of different brands. But we got into, I just feel like we're just skipping forward so fast. Why did we go to China?
Yeah, well, there was an expo, right? There was the biggest UAV expo in the world was held in May in China.
Yeah,
and,
in Shenzhen.
Shenzhen, yep. We wanted to see what's up, see what's coming, like what's the future. The most depressing thing about that show, well, two things, but the most...
Depressing?
Depressing.
Uh-oh. Tell me.
There's so many applications for drones that like we can't eat, like we could get excited about it, but you can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it in the US. Can't do it in the US. Can't do it in the US. And it is, in some ways, it's just a battle. Like for agricultural drones, there's already tried and proven. We've been doing that for years, but the whole process still takes 3 to 6 months.
Way too long to get your agricultural stuff. Yeah.
How's our Part 91 application going with drones, right? Where we're asking to do heavy transport.
Did you see they requested the third RFI? What more are we going to give you, FAA? We want to use the flight cart to pick up a generator or pick up tools or do this or do that in emergency situations, or I want to do it on my own property. Anyhow, geez.
Is it the same one?
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
He wants the same stuff again that we've given him 2 other times.
Yeah.
It's a process of slowing technology down in America.
Yep.
You say that there were so many things that we've seen in China that we just can't have. Well, like what?
Yeah, like the 2 big categories, power washing and fire suppression.
Yep.
Those 2 things, like to operate drones near high-rise buildings in a city environment.
Can't do it.
Good luck.
Yeah,
you can't freaking luck.
Yeah, you can't do it in the United States with the FAA. No, actually, I should say you can't legally, according to the FAA, do it. Could you do it? Yeah, you probably could do it. The fly cart setup that was rigged up with its own tank to do like de-icing or something.
Yeah,
that was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, so it had its own pressure washing. What is that thing called on a pressure washer? The compressor.
I have no idea.
The thing that creates pressure, right?
Yeah, the thing that creates pressure. It would have been like carrying its own pressure washer without a hose attached to it, and it would have its own carry load with it. So you could do de-icing on like windmills or something like that, or big towers. Yeah, so you wouldn't actually have to be attached to an actual physical water hose. It would take it with it.
What was your perception? Were these just a bunch of enthusiasts coming up with all kinds of things you could do, or were people like actually?
Oh no, they're totally doing it. Yeah, they are totally doing it in China and probably in the European market. It felt like there were
a lot of Europeans.
Yeah, a lot of Europeans,
and tens of thousands of buyers or just industry people walking through those shows.
Yeah.
One of the other takeaways is it's so startling to see the difference of the Chinese government and how they interact with drones and the American government. The Chinese government, every year they have a different category of innovation that they're trying to award or promote.
Yep.
And so they'll give money to companies that create products in this category. For example, now it's like fire suppression. Whereas here in America, you want to use a somewhat proven drone technology and you have to petition and try. And
you have to get on your knees and beg to the higher powers
and then
thou shall let me do this. It is oh my gosh.
And 3 months later, they come back and say, do a little more begging.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not going to tell you how to do it differently, but it didn't work for me last time. Do it again. Do it again.
This is true. This is true. Like, we take time and we try to write our safety manuals, and we'll give them the whole spiel of the safety that goes in it. We'll have a VO. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll keep it safe. No, not good enough. Tell me again, how are you going to do this to be safe? How could you be more safe than out in a rural field, trees everywhere, no house around you I'm talking about if we do the out west stuff.
Yep.
There might not be a house even close to you for 3 miles.
Yep, right.
And they still won't allow
with
it.
a ceiling, so you're not interfering with other air traffic. All these things, thought it through. How are you going to, what app are you going to check the weather on and to check like the
NOTAMs.
What app, like all down to,
we gave them all that. And now they want more, Kevin.
So the next step
do we just copy and paste the same thing?
I think the next step is $10,000 for an FAA attorney to take what we've done. I don't know, do something.
No, I think it's just a drug out process that the government does to give them more time to maybe come up with their own rules.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
And then on the other end, you have the Chinese government saying, whoever can figure out how to do this kind of thing, we're going to give you a contract for $50,000 per unit, orders of 50 units each. Who wants to come and get it?
Yep. Yeah, for agricultural, tell them what Brian was telling us about how was it the Chinese government really wants farmers in China to adopt new technology. They have an incentive, right? It's called an incentive.
Yep.
So if a farmer buys a spray drone in China, he basically gets it for free because the Chinese government wants them to use this technology that is less environmental impact.
Yep. Safer for the environment.
Yep. And it works better on the crops. So the Chinese government is saying, hey, farmer, if you are growing rice and you buy a drone, you get this amount of dollars back.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And they produce thousands and thousands of drones because of that reason.
And then to the drone manufacturers, just produce agricultural drones, and we're going to give you, we'll buy them from you. Even if nobody else buys them, the government will buy them from you.
Yeah, that I found a little strange.
But how else?
Because I think that's how EA got started. Sorry. But I got no proof or data on this.
But listen, but how else, what better way to foster the private sector to actually innovate and create and give them runway to go out there and try new things?
No, I agree. I mean, what is our government giving? I don't they give money to other countries to do these studies of gay mice or something?
Yes, a lot of gay mice, and I think I think those were partially stopped, but I think also our dear Republican senators are actually not voting to really stop those. So it's still they have to ratify what Doge did, and they're not doing it because they still want to spend it. And so it's all just a big scam. It's kind of the takeaway.
It was shocking to see how far ahead on the technology side of things, China on the technology side of things is just further ahead, I feel, because of less regulations in the airspace. I think, right? I'm sure that China has all kinds of regulations that us free Americans are I would never live there because I can't have a gun and go shoot a groundhog. I get it. I'm just saying, in this little space of technology, of how to get things done maybe more efficiently or more cost effectively, they're doing it.
Yeah. The other big takeaway from that show for me was how Shenzhen is actually such a hub for manufacturing of components.
Yeah. Well, one of the first big signs that we seen when we landed at the Shenzhen airport was a huge, probably a 15 by 10 foot sign. And it said that Shenzhen owns, or how was it?
I think it was 70% of consumer drones
are built in
that city. Yeah.
Of the whole world.
In the global consumer drone market, which means DJI manufacturing is there, which is probably and then a bunch of other little guys. Oh, yeah,
a bunch of other little guys. But 70% of them are built in one city.
Yeah. And that leads to if you want to go find propellers or, a chassis or aluminum or bolts or wiring harness or anything you want to do, there's little companies, medium companies set up to do that one specific thing. It's fascinating.
Literally, you can build a drone. You could have went to that show and built a drone from nothing to an actual airframe of a drone with propellers and motors and everything for your own brand of drone. And we've talked about doing that, but then we've talked to other people and they're like, yeah, I can build a drone and I could build a drone, but just building the drone and getting it to hover or getting it to fly is one thing. It's the whole software that makes a drone great. And that is why DJI will forever lead the industry. They just have so much data. They know what the people want. They know how the software should work together, and you just won't catch up. You just will not. I know I've said it before, Kevin, but let's start building rockets. Will you ever get to where SpaceX is?
Yeah, probably never.
It's just it will just be so hard. Now, if SpaceX, a rocket comes back down and it annihilates their whole thing, and everybody dies, maybe you could, But no, it's not going to happen.
Okay, so it's hard to disagree with that because of how advanced they are.
I remember we had this conversation once, and then you always want to come back with...
I just feel like there is a space, though, where... Okay, how about this? Tell me what you think about this. Maybe nobody else will ever catch up and be as good as, but soon one or two other drone companies will become good enough. That's what I think. Nobody will ever be as good as, but a couple of them will be good enough. I think.
Okay.
Because that's what you see, I think, in cell phones, where it's so much easier to make a good cell phone now than it was 10 years ago. And a lot of little companies are making good cell phones, but depending who you ask, nobody is as good as Samsung or Apple. But there's a lot of other cell phone manufacturers that are good enough.
Okay. AI, we don't know what it actually truly will...
Little yellow drone. Yeah. I mean, surveillance. Yeah, give me 100 minutes. I'll take 200 minutes. To heck with it.
Yeah, but it's like, what are we doing? I mean, they don't show how you use it.
Yeah.
Is this
what
just
it's for?
All it is to me is it's another crowdfunding type thing.
Get
where
funding.
It's like
proof of concept. Let's get the money. Let's figure out what we're going to build as we build it.
100 minutes. It's great, right?
Yeah,
100 minutes.
It's good.
But how do I use it?
Yeah. And that was, one of the booths that we walked by was the flight module booth. There's 3 big flight modules from what we saw at the booth. 3 big flight modules. And those companies have, I think they're open source, or they're built on open SDKs, something like that. So the flight module, you buy it, and they're cheap. They're like $100, $200 for a flight module. And then, do you want the one for the enterprise, or do you want the one for the agriculture? And she wanted to give us a flight module so that we could come back and test it. Yep. And then the only specialization is the kind of software that you write on top of that flight module that runs the...
But that's the hard part.
The software, 100%. 100%. But those little flight modules are so cheap.
Yep.
That was amazing to me.
Yep. Look, they don't have this figured out. What they're doing is we're going to have a drone that flies for 100 minutes, but they have no concept of how they're going to set up the sprayer. Did you see the sprayer?
Yeah. But companies like that will have a hard time getting off their feet in the U.S., whereas if a company like that gets a contract for $2 million or $20 million...
No, they definitely need a lot more than that.
They can, like in China, they could actually just go build a basic proof of concept, improve on it. Like in our area... There's woodworking that is the same kind of fractional distributed industry where that guy makes cabinet drawers, that guy makes countertops, that guy makes... And if you want to build furniture in this community, Ohio, it is one of the easiest places to do it because you just got to know who does each of the different pieces. And then you can actually outsource that component to each of the little factories, the little shops.
Yeah, I just feel like I didn't want to keep bringing up that company, but it's like you tell us you have these things, but you actually don't because you're showing us AI images, and what you're doing is you're trying to say that you're American built to try to get funding from American people to then go build this thing. Where the Chinese, it seems they don't do that. They just literally build it.
Yeah, they just build it because it's easy for them because they all just source it there locally. Yeah. So,
but can you imagine what that sucker costs?
Oh, dude.
Like think about like what we're already paying for like a T60X, like $43,000. You know, it hovers, carries 132 pounds, and it'll, in hover, it'll probably be in the air for 5.5, 6 minutes. I mean, that's not that great. But it actually does something. Here you're just showing me AI images that it will fly for 100 minutes, but we have no idea what it's going to cost. Like it could be 100,000. It could be 200,000. Well, then you are just way outside of the market.
I think your beef is not just with that company, but just in general.
Just
a
in
lot
general.
of companies that bring unproven ag drones, right? And you know what it's like to fly ag drones for a living.
Yeah. Okay. So unproven ag drones. You remember what it was like when they were starting to talk about ban DJI, ban DJI?
Yeah.
How many unproven spray drones that started creeping into the market? Like we had guys reaching out to us that had absolutely no agricultural experience whatsoever, but they had this spray drone that they put together, and it's going to be the biggest and the best thing. But it's like, guys, like you actually have to work this stuff and see how it's going to function long term to actually start getting backing. And I just don't know how a company would do that. Putting AI images on their website, like, makes me a little sketched out. Now, maybe we invest, Kevin. Maybe we put some money in because it might be the next Tesla. I don't know. But it's just, why? Why do we have to do that?
The American drone manufacturing is so far from maturity to where, like, it's just so far. All that we're doing right now is proof of concept, fundraising, but
okay,
it's just how it'll be for the next couple of years.
Yeah,
right?
the other problem we got to get figured out is the FAA. Like, just because we have these drones that can carry, that can fly this far, that can do these things, it's not going to do us any good unless the FAA loosens up some on their regulations. Because when I go pick up a generator and I got to fly it to the back corner because I got a long way to go spray, like they're telling me I can't do that. Why? We got a problem.
I think that with the FAA is going to be primarily fixed with the release of the Part 108.
Yeah, we'll see. But the Part 108's been talked about for 3 years.
Yeah,
we just got started, and they were talking about the one.
I feel like we're probably 2 to 3 years away yet for that to be
with a couple zeros on there.
20 or 30 years.
Or 200 years. Like the FAA, I'm telling you, the FAA is so slow that when you go get your pilot's license right now, you are supposed to learn how to navigate on what's called a VOR. It's a radio frequency station that is set on the ground, and it has points. Literally, you can look this up. It has points around this radio tower. And when you're way over here, you dial this old ruggedy thing that tells you what radial you're on. Like, they're obsolete. Like,
but
people don't even, you have to learn it
to pass the test.
Because
and then
the FAA is so slow to adopt new technology that they're like, nope, you definitely got to know this stuff.
But,
and so that's why I'm saying, like,
it might be a while.
Yes. Like, some of this stuff is...
And dude, their job has got to suck because the only time you hear about them usually is when something goes wrong. And so it feels like the whole organization is built on how do we prevent anything from ever going wrong. And that's good. You need some of that. But how do you mix that with, wow, the world's changing and we got to keep up?
Exactly. Yeah, that's going to be the hardest thing. You brought up fire suppression, something that we've seen in China. Such a great idea. And again, it's not going to like replace helicopters or airplanes doing bomb drops or whatever they're called on water on forest fires, but using a drone, what we've seen over there, using a drone when a small fire starts to quickly, boom, launch the drone and get it up into the mountains, and then it has these, they call it a firebomb. It has a fire suppressant built into it, and it has a laser measurer to measure how high the drone is off of the fire, and then as you release it, a timer starts counting down. And the goal is to have the timer detonate at about 10 to 15 feet above the fire, and then it goes boom, and then all the suppression, like fire suppression material that's in it, is to put out the fire. A great idea. Yeah, it's not going to stop, 100,000 acre forest fire, but if a forest fire starts or any type of small fire and this, local fire department gets their fly card out, boom, has it into the air within minutes, right? And it's 10 acres. I guarantee you could put 10 acres out with that thing, not needing to get guys up into the timber, hiking up in there. Fire suppression, I think, should be something that should be focused on in America. Saves lives.
It's a big issue.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of
That's
need for fire
That's something that
suppression.
I've seen in China that really got me excited.
Yep, and the path to it being adopted in those government agencies, it's so slow and difficult.
Yep. Probably won't be for sure if it's federally funded because of the NDAA Act or something like that.
which means you have to use
drones that are built in America. Yep, built in America.
And all the components or, something it's about not just it was assembled in America, but not.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
The other interesting category of drones along the fire suppression line was we saw a couple of those fire trucks with actual drones that would lift off the top.
Yeah.
And
there was literally, tell more. The fire truck was specifically built, had this huge drone that slid down into the fire truck.
Yep.
Had like 6 motors?
I think it had 8.
8 motors.
It had 8, and they were like, some of them
fan ducts.
Yeah, like all kind of like different size. And the main purpose of it is to go straight up with this big old fat, water pipe going up, shoot it out 100 meters.
Yep.
So if there's a, on the 50th story, there's a fire, just send that thing up. Spray right in the windows.
I think what it's supposed to do is to replace the ladder truck. Like we have a huge, long ladder trucks.
Yep.
I mean, seems like a good idea.
Seems like a good idea, yep.
But I don't know if we'll ever be able to get that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But again,
FAA gripe.
It was
this is not an FAA gripe podcast, but it is to say that we need to do something. Yeah. I mean, it's just that simple. We need to do something. If we're going to keep moving forward with this technology, something has to change. And you probably aren't listening to FAA, but maybe you are because you do watch the content. Clearly. I don't know how you know that.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you know that?
Wait, what makes you think that they watch your content, Mike? Why would you say
I
that?
don't know if we're allowed to talk about it. But anyhow, move on.
So those drones, they have the whole fire truck built in conjunction with the drone itself. It's all one integrated system. So sweet.
Yeah, looks so cool. You got a video of that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Maybe you can throw it up here.
It's up on the screen now. Check that out.
It looks so cool.
The other thing is impressive to see, and I don't know if this is depressing or impressive, but you walk along the show and there's this agricultural drone manufacturer, and then you see that one over there, and there's that one, and there's like 20, 30, I don't know how many, there's a ton of them, and you go look at the propellers and you look at the motors and the ESCs.
They're all from the same company.
And they're all from the same company.
Yep. Yeah, so there's one company in China leading the industry as far as building components for the drone. One company called Hobbywing. They build the motors and the propellers and the wiring harnesses and the flight controllers and most of the electrical system for the drone. And you could tell when you walked into that show, you could see by their booth, was a big booth.
Yep.
Anyhow, there's that. You remember that one company? We walked past their booth and we're like, doggone, looks just like DJI. Even their font looks like DJI. And then we talked to the guy, and he was cool to talk to.
Yep.
And we're like, how's your drone different, from all the other off-brands of a DJI system? And he's like, not really that much different.
Yeah.
It's just we're trying to get into the market because the market is huge.
Yep.
But then that salesman said, no, DJI has like... He said the market share that DJI has, and they're not there to outdo DJI. They just want to fill in some of the gap. And it's like, it's going to be so hard to do. Just so hard to do. DJI is an awesome company. I mean, that's what I say. They build good products. That's what I should say.
They build great products.
Yeah, they build good products.
We walked past, Hobbywing.
Yep.
Makes all the propellers. They have huge propellers now. I mean, huge
giants.
Motors.
Yeah, giants. Like, I'm talking bigger than what's on my airplane.
Yeah. And drone concepts, like probably stuff you could buy, production line, but like small quantity niche. How much carrying capacity or lifting capacity were some of the bigger ones that we saw?
Oh, true. I forget. Weren't they like 200 kg?
I think
200, 300 kg?
Yeah, I think 330 or something was the biggest one.
Was that kg or pounds?
It was kg.
Yeah, so I mean, there were some giants.
A lot of hundreds, 150s, that was pretty normal.
Yeah.
But then a couple of them were like 600-700 pound lifting capacity.
Yeah. But they were so big that it's not even convenient. It'd be like a helicopter.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's coming. Think about it. Like, think about replacing cranes like that are doing, 600-pound lifts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
with the drone.
Yeah, with the drone. Yep. I think it'll come. Anyhow, we were at that show for one day, walked through it, quickly figured out, this is kind of where the people come to build drones and maybe want to see some of the latest tech. But we were hustling through there. And then the next day, I was like, let's see if we can go meet an agricultural drone guy in China. We wanted to go see how they use drones in China. But then they also have a model that we don't have right now. And people know that.
Yeah.
They have a model that we don't have. Anyhow.
This is normally how DJI does their thing, right? They release a China-made, and that's actually why we get such a good model in the U.S.
Yeah.
Is because it's already been used for 6 months or 12 months.
Yep, and they fix things.
And again, like...
that I knew when we said let's do a podcast about China is going to be like we got to like tiptoe because they had us do an NDA because we can't talk about too much about this model. So let's just talk about how kind they were, right? So we reached out. No. What I'm saying, guys, is you're making this funny. What I'm saying is the people, right? Random people from the United States of America.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at the people. I'm just saying like we have this opportunity to talk about drones, and then we have to like shift to be quiet and talk about people, and it's great.
What we're going to talk about is the people in agricultural drones over there. So I got in touch with this guy through Instagram and was like, would you happen to know a farmer or somebody that I could come out to their location and see how they do drones? And this is where me and Kevin were talking about a little bit earlier, this young guy. So he's like, literally within, what was it? Probably like an hour or two.
Yeah.
He had given us the contact. Boom, been in contact with him, told him we're going to take the bullet train.
Can we show up, see what you do, see what it's like to spray, with a drone?
Yeah, literally. They have no idea who we are, and they're like, absolutely. Take the bullet train to this location. I'll have a guy there to pick you up at the train station, and then he'll take you to their facility, and then from there, we just kind of rolled with it. We get on the bullet train. The coolest thing, I'm telling you guys, if you have to go to China and just see how they move people. How they move people, everything from the roads to the trains to the planes to the buildings. It just feels like they literally built it to move people.
Yep.
Have a large area so things don't get congested. Does it get congested on the road? A little bit here and there, but everybody seems to just know when to move. You were saying, Kevin, it's like when you're driving a car or you're driving a moped scooter thing, you worry only what's in front of you.
Yep.
I didn't even look. Do they check the mirrors?
I think if there is ever an accident in Austin, you can tell me. But my understanding of Asian countries like China, Thailand is if there's an accident, the guy who was in the back is usually the guy who's at fault. So as long as you don't hit the guys in front of you who are all moving and weaving, then the guys who are behind you, they can figure out how to not hit you. Generally.
Okay.
I mean, you might not.
Because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, if I want to pull out here, I'm pulling out, and this guy better not wreck me. It was just like they just keep moving.
Yeah,
it works. Like that's the crazy thing. It's not like F you and honking.
Exactly. That's what I was going to bring up. In America, if a dude pulls in front of him, he's like, burr, 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 like ticked off.
Yeah, I should not have to brake for anyone on the highway. It's kind of how we as Americans drive.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Like if you make me brake for you, then you are out of line.
Okay.
You know, like even in Vietnam, when people cross the road, people don't have to actually look at traffic to see what's coming.
Oh, they
just walk, and then the traffic just drives around.
And then the way you get killed,
it's scary to do that the first time.
Yeah, the way you get killed is like you stop. You don't stop.
Yeah, you can't.
You set a pace and you keep going.
Yeah.
And we're talking like what we saw, like more like hundreds of motorcycles, mostly motorcycles. Some cars, but like hundreds of motorcycles. Like and it's that you just walk and they all know how to avoid you. But if you stop, then that guy didn't calculate that you're going to stop and now he's going to run over you.
Yeah. But no, so what I experience is it's really cool how they have set up the cities to move people, got on the bullet train, went up there, guy picks us up at the airport or at the train station, have no clue like what we're saying. We're using all our phone, like we talk to our phone and then translate back to them like what we're doing here, but totally cool with it, right? They're patient. What I was saying, like, because sometimes Google or your translate thing on your phone messes up and then it's like, sorry, one second, that's not what I meant. And then you rewrite it or you re-talk to your phone, but then they do it back to you to communicate. It just feels like they're a little more patient, but they're not sitting around. So they're not like just slow with everything because they're getting stuff done. But then when we're communicating, it's like, okay, I have time for you.
We should have had a video call of our, like the 25-year-old business owner or whatever that we kind of went to visit. He's using his auto driving, his full self-driving, right? Going down the highway and like a lot of traffic and stuff. And he's on the phone, like video calling the guy who's fixing the battery and the generator and like, and
I mean, hustling.
but like probably at like 10, 15 phone calls, like
Yep.
bam, 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 bam. And dude, the way they use WeChat and their version of WhatsApp or whatever, it's like next level to how we use it.
Yeah.
They're just like talking, next one talking. And if you see, it's just like their hands are like this guy's hand. It's like he could like
Yeah, it was like he
multitask.
was on a computer where you had multiple screens and you flop from this screen to this screen. Like that's what he was doing. He was 25 years old, had his battery SUV in autopilot. It would weave and bob and weave in the traffic.
Yep. Little refrigerator in there. Want some cold drinks right here built into the SUV.
He gave us cold drinks. He pulled it out. I was like, this is cold.
Your car doesn't have a refrigerator? No. What? Are you not in 2025? What are we doing?
That is funny.
Yeah, but their hospitality, right? Like the way that they do meals is let's spend 2 hours, order family style. We just share all the food. And for you to feel welcome, there has to be so much food left over.
Yep.
You cannot buy
but
just
me
as
and
much.
Kevin were always eating too fast, and we're sitting there.
Slow down. What are you doing?
Yep.
This is supposed to take 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we were like, I mean, for me, it's like, well, no, I
got
20
stuff
minutes.
to do. I got stuff to do. But when they're eating, they're just they're eating and talking.
Yep.
Although they use their phones at the table just like we do. He's probably fixing drones or something. But I got to give it to him. And I appreciate him picking up, guys he never met out of his day, right? He was busy. He was doing things, but yet he came, picked us up, took us to his shop. Then I asked him, hey, can we go out in the field with a farmer? And he's on the phone while he's doing all his other things, trying to find a farmer on a Saturday afternoon when they're at home and trying to chill. Then this guy is like, hey, I got these guys. Can we use your drones?
And
Did
he's
we
like,
tell him that the guy was...
I'm too hungover. I can't drive. But if you come over and drive the truck to the field, then you can have. I mean, you can have it.
And he went with us. But he didn't want to drive. This farmer person, he didn't want to drive, but he was like, yeah, you can take my truck and all my stuff on a Saturday afternoon. And we went out into the field. And I don't know. I had to really think to myself, would I do that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you could do that all the time.
It goes against we're gonna work so hard. We have so much to accomplish. Like we can't stop. We can't.
Yeah.
We don't have time for it. And we probably should have time for it.
But then I
hospitality.
But then I had to think, Kevin. I also think that there's not that many foreigners that go there and do what we did. There's a ton of foreigners here in America. If I would take every DM that I get from foreigners, because I get, Brazilians, Hispanics, you name it, that want to come here to run with me, I don't think it would work. I just feel like there's less foreigners that get into China. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, we saw some foreigners in Shenzhen, but definitely out in like the little town that we were in. Yeah, there's probably not that many foreigners that go there.
I just feel like it's a little harder to get into the country, so not many foreigners, and so then the locals want to cater to the foreigners. Let's just be honest. America is where foreigners have run to. Everybody, including my own heritage. We weren't born in, I was born and raised here, but it's like we came from Switzerland. Like everybody that come to America came from... Actually, that's another thing is like we don't really have culture here like they do in China because they don't have a bunch of mixed different countries.
Would you say their culture is different, or what do you mean by like our culture is kind of a hodgepodge?
Yes,
less
exactly.
Defined and specific than what they might have.
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Now here where we're at in Holmes County, Tuscarawas County, Ohio, we have the Amish, so we have a culture here.
Subset culture, yeah.
Yeah, correct. But not as a whole country.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, I would say they're trying to get the whole country to have a culture, and it's probably drinking beer and watching football on Sunday. Great culture.
You mean in America?
No,
or in China?
No, here in America.
Yeah, watch football. Yeah, football definitely.
If you were to think of the American culture, what would it be? It has to be sports and.
I would think it has to be overextending yourself financially. Is and that. Well, but like
that's a culture.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
No, wait. I'm talking about like the have fun type of culture.
What we do for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, sports would be huge.
I would definitely say that what we do for fun takes money. Like everything is driven by money to have fun here in America, where I would say a lot of other cultures would necessarily need to spend as much money to and still have a good time. Like if yeah.
I suppose anytime you try to generalize the American culture, you're going to end up offending a lot of people.
Well, but it's just hard. But it is this way, I believe, because of so many different, I don't know if it's race, but like, you have Hispanics, you have blacks, you have Indians.
A lot of different subcultures.
Yeah, you just have so many different ones.
But it is kind of like that, like to some degree in China as well. Because I've been out in Western China, whole different culture.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and even northern, southern provinces, like the food is different.
Mm-hmm.
But does the hospitality change?
Everywhere I've been in China, it's been incredibly hospitable.
Okay, that's what we're talking about here. That's what I feel.
Would you say the
like,
same thing, Austin? It's
I would
always
say anywhere. Yeah, I mean, maybe not as much like city culture, but definitely when you get out into villages, rural country area, you're going to get invited into somebody's house. Like even if you're just passing through the village, like you're going to get invited into somebody's house at tea. And that's
maybe,
anywhere.
Maybe, I don't know. I love America. I think it's great, but maybe I just didn't experience this yet in America.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's part of just traveling. You see richness and goodness in other cultures, and it makes you a more whole person because you come back and you're like, wow, other people really prioritize hospitality in a way that we don't.
Yeah.
And it's such a good thing. We should do more of that.
I agree. I should bring up, like, for you guys that are listening or watching, or have watched Drone Day Recovery or NuWay Ag, right? We've built this community. We built an audience, and you guys have been very, very kind to me. You come up and talk to me. You would say, "Hey, come and hunt with me. Come and do this, do that." I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that have no clue who you are, and just randomly want to hang out with you or tell you to come do this and do that. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Getting a DM that says, hey, I would like to come up to the Akron airport and I just want to spend a day learning how you guys fly thermal drones. Is there any way that you could tell me how to get down, or would you pick me up? Or like, it would be the equivalent of us going up to Akron airport, 40 minutes away or whatever, picking somebody up and then bringing them down, spending the whole day with them.
Yeah.
But that's next level hospitable.
I know, but then when you start thinking of that, we just couldn't do that at NuWay Ag, or we can't do that at Drone Day Recovery, because you start building this audience, right? And then you have people, thousands and thousands of people. But what we're trying to say is, if you were a name on Instagram that you had no followers, and this guy reaches out to you, then maybe you would do it.
It's probably like you would probably do that for 3 to 5 people a year, probably not for 500 a year, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like if this was like once a quarter, I got to do this and different. Like you're right, because I've done this before, like for people who are backpacking through town. It's
So maybe it is.
Yeah, but it's like the right amount is like one a month or one every other month, or it's not like 5 a week. That's not going to work.
So you are saying that we do have hospitality. Maybe it's because when you do this Instagram thing, you need to know who to spend your time with. Maybe that's my problem.
And the other thing kind of going on too is like there is potentially a business relationship, right? Like this is also like we are going to do business with some of these people that we spent time with and that were very hospitable to us.
Yeah, but I mean, Austin was in China and he was not doing business with people in random villages.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think there is something to what you said, is that, some of the villages that I went, there wouldn't be very many foreigners that have gone through those villages, like as you're trekking or hiking and stuff. So people are naturally curious, and people have, I still say in China, I felt a difference between the interaction with people in a village, because the village life was more slow. And it was, slower pace. Where in the city, you didn't really feel as much like when you just go out on the street and stuff, that people are going to be chatting up a storm with you and trying to get to know you. So I think there is something to that, as far as if you have the time or whatever. Like that guy, maybe he was like, hey, I haven't had any type of request like this before, so he's going to do everything to make it an interesting connection or experience.
Yeah. Now that we're talking this through, I think I know where my brain is going on the hospitality side of things. It's like, if you are a person that has reach, it is harder to do hospitality randomly because so many people know you. But if nobody knows you, then if somebody randomly calls you or sends you a DM, then it'd be easier to give do hospitality. That's probably why the outdoor boy, well, he said he quit. He quit YouTube.
Quit his YouTube channel, wildly successful, but he couldn't go hiking or go out with his family to a restaurant without it being people recognizing him.
I wonder if that was a problem. Like he couldn't do hospitality anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean even go eat at a restaurant. Even go eat at a restaurant was, I think, difficult for him based on that video he made.
Yeah.
So and it's like you don't want, when it starts affecting your family and all that stuff.
I'm not saying that we're successful like that. I'm just trying to figure out the hospitality thing of why I felt like they were kind. But I think it was maybe because they didn't know us.
Yeah, but I think as a general rule, I think Southeast Asia and China and some of those, I mean, a lot of even other countries that I've been to generally are more warm climate cultured as far as meaning, as far as just a little bit more.
All right,
friendly.
So I'm not being too hard on the American people, am I?
No, but if you go to the South or if you go up to New York State, your experience with the random people you meet will be totally different.
Completely different.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
The people down south are, that southern draw. Like
Friendly.
they are friendly, cook some biscuits, have some tea.
Oh, yeah, baby.
No. Yeah. Anyhow, I liked China. It was really, really cool. I liked the scenery, mountainous. It felt like when we were on the bullet train, any piece of land that was somewhat flat, there was a garden. I don't know if that was just me. I think food is a big deal to them. Yeah.
Should we talk about DJI Sky City? For me, what was impressive is, Sky City is DJI's global headquarters.
This is when we went and met with DJI. We had a meeting with DJI. Now, we're going to be vague, right?
But the experience, man, is so good because they've been in that headquarters for a couple years, 3-4 years, and you have these 2 towers, and this helped me understand some of. I think this just helps bring perspective to DJI and the behemoth it is.
Yep.
Is the one tower, Tower 1, is
all engineers,
full engineers, research and development with extremely limited access. So there's no meeting rooms, or maybe there's some meeting rooms. Most meeting rooms are on Tower 2. And there's a bridge between the 2 towers. And when engineers need to come have a meeting with marketing or with sales or with people like us, they walk across the bridge into Tower 2. And then we have a meeting there. There's this whole floor that's just meetings, but we're not bringing sales, not just outsiders. My understanding is we're not really bringing sales or marketing or accounting into Building 1. Building 1 is strict need-to-know basis, extremely locked down. And
we wouldn't be allowed to go into
not into Building 1. Nope. And 5,000 engineers work in that building, we were told.
Yep.
And
5,000 per building, which is 10,000 people. That's not putting the drones together.
Yep. That's just
what would that be called?
Like the corporate office, so people who work in accounting and sales and in after sales and
engineering.
Yeah, finance, engineering, and
that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
The way you got into the building was so cool. I mean, you can't just go in it. I don't know, maybe I'm sure there's a bunch of other companies that are like this, but you had to have a special invitation. You had to go through a process. Did we take our picture? Like her face?
Yeah, when you got your QR code.
Yeah, they had to take our picture.
Very controlled access.
Yeah.
And, but, some of the really awesome things from that trip is we got to talk to some of the people that actually are designing and developing. And it was so good because we talked to people here on the U.S. side, but it was just different to go and be able to talk directly to some of the people who are making decisions on design functionality, like you are actually building it. It was so fun to see.
Yeah. I felt like the building on the inside, or the portion where we were at, the meeting rooms, the finish was like a DJI drone. When you look at a DJI drone, it just the curves and just the complete product looks really good when you get a DJI drone, and the building looked the same way. Obviously, there's 2 big things that they like showing visitors at their headquarters. One is they have like this garden where it kind of is built out from the building.
On
plants,
the 28th floor or something.
Little trees, just a little garden area where they say that their people go walk if they're, need a break or something. But so that was really nice. And then, of course, he took us to the bridge and showed us the bridge, which is nice, but I don't know. It's just a bridge.
The other thing that was interesting to me is seeing or hearing more about how different markets, like the American market compares to other Asian markets or South American markets. And this has been a rough year for the American ag market.
Oh, yeah.
So rough. Like many different things going on. But even just like...
It was a rough... not just ag. It was a rough year for DJI, period.
Yeah. True that. Yeah.
They couldn't get enterprise
we
drones.
Got tariffs going on. Enterprise is going on. CBP is blocking not just DJI drones, but different China-made drones. And then you have all this, it's been a bad year. And other industries, other markets like South America is just expanding, rocking and rolling. Like these drones are finding their place and they're becoming an implement that is a necessity for a farmer to have.
Yep.
And here in America, we're still squabbling about like way back before even the start line, it feels like almost, before this really gets started.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating to see. And I heard frustration from them with like, this American market is the toughest one because, again,
it's the biggest one, but it's not functioning like it should or could.
Yeah, we could talk at length about that. And there's a bunch of different reasons, but man, it will function. Like
I mean, it's going to have to figure out how to function better. I mean, it has to.
Yeah, it has to. Yep.
Like John Deere would not have.
You know how John Deere started?
No.
Selling shovels, and then they went and they bought a design for a gangster redneck tractor. But they first were a dealer that bought and sold shovels and picks and stuff.
Okay. So,
and then they bought the patent for some designs.
Okay, but did they want to be like the biggest tractor dealer manufacturer, I wonder?
I don't know.
Maybe I shouldn't use them as an example.
But what were you going to say?
I just look at it like they have an organized situation where if you buy a tractor, you have somewhere to go get it repaired. It's going to be repaired properly.
Yep.
People are about customer service. Like right now, it is hard, to buy a drone and get the service that you want when you want it, because there's so many different people selling drones.
Yep.
Because selling drones is easy, but servicing them is a whole different ballgame.
Yep.
And so I think that's probably their biggest gripe, right?
Yep.
Yes, selling drones is one thing, but providing great service is what they're after.
And when it comes to ag drones specifically, selling without service is like, it's just delayed pain because everybody will need service. Everybody will have questions.
Yeah, even like Jay, like he's flying yesterday. He needs service on his drone because it hit a power line. I mean,
shoot. You called me yesterday.
Yeah, he what's funny about Jay is he's flew thousands of acres, never put a drone down. He's like, yeah, never. Now he's done it a couple times, like either an ag drone or the thermal drone. Yep. He was bragging one time that he was like, yeah, I was coming back with my thermal drone and flew right in between two power lines because there's one on top and one on bottom. I flew right through there accidentally, and but then later he smokes a power line. But anyhow,
that only lasts for so long.
Yeah,
be lucky.
But thankfully, these drones, and this is where the FAA is getting it so confused, is they're so worried about safety. And I get it, that's their job, but this is not an airplane that is going 160 miles an hour with 80 gallons of kerosene that when it hits the ground and it goes sliding for 500 feet, tearing apart, houses, trees, burning up. Like, this is not that. A drone is not that. It's traveling relatively slow compared to an airplane. It's not flying as high. It's going right to the boundary edge. Yes, if there's a power line through your field, you might smoke it. And then your drone ploop, falls to the ground with a broken arm.
It squashes a little bit of corn or soybeans.
Yeah.
So a little bit of damage there.
Yeah, but why should the FAA care that this, 1 bushel of corn got damaged?
Have you heard of any cases where a power line has actually been damaged, where a power line company has to come out? Because in the cases that I know of, the drones just hit the power line, and the power line's like, I'm more of a boss than you.
I'm sure that there is a scenario where a line got cut. Maybe not the high tension power line, but probably like a fiber optic or something like that would get cut. But again, that's not affecting the general public as far as their safety. That's what I'm trying to get at. The FAA is about the public's safety.
Yep.
We're out in farm fields.
Yep.
The problem is this, and quite a few companies went through audits from the FAA this year because of YouTube videos and stuff, and they don't know how it works. They literally were in the shop looking at the drone, did not know what the drone is, did not know how it operates. They think you push the drone up, you let go of the sticks, and she flies away. It's literally what they think. And so that's why they're concerned.
Wasn't that, I just think anecdotally of the one story I heard of a FAA inspector walking into a enterprise like ours and was like, that is a big drone. And it's like, no, you are the person who's supposed to be making the rules for drones. You should not be surprised by a drone that is commonly used for ag.
Yeah.
You write the rules on how to use that drone. So the fact that you're surprised that that's a big drone is not a good sign for whoever's writing the rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's crazy that they're like that. Definitely think that if we wouldn't have such strict FAA rules, we would be so much further ahead. But you know what? In another way, Kevin, it might be good because we got to get this thing figured out with after sales. Like,
yeah, there needs to be like, and again, we're trying to, the pie could be so much bigger. It could be 20x or 100x what it is now.
Yeah.
So our interest is not in growing our business only. Our interest is in let's promote agriculture drones in America.
Yeah.
So for that to work, we need to have a much better network of people selling and servicing drones, and we have to have education and service happening all around the country.
Yep.
And that the two big challenges right now in our industry is we have the whole thing with tariffs and, you know, the China-US relationship. How's that going to work? And then you have the FAA. And the biggest obstacle to this industry growing is the government, 100% in those two aspects.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I would say the first 6 months of the year, it's been just trying to, I mean, we've been hit from all sides with the tariffs. Like nobody knows. And it's not just us, the whole world, the whole country. It's like, here's the tariffs this week and then this week and this week. And
I mean, Trump has really affected, he without a doubt has affected drone growth in America just by the tariff circus show that we've seen.
Yep.
And I used to never say that a president has that much effect on my personal life, but totally had an effect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I think we're in the stages that we're in right now is because economic is it instability or
instability?
Instability. It's just
nobody
like,
knows.
Just don't know.
Yeah.
You just don't know. Like
it's.
I mean, I think he's trying to work for we the people, but it doesn't feel that way at times.
It'll be interesting to see how the second half of the year kind of unfolds, and there's a lot of things that, you know, the much rumored FCC ban of DJI.
Yeah.
You know, that's in play in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
And a couple, like there's a lot of misinformation and people who nobody knows for sure, but an FCC ban it prevents future filings, future approval of new products.
Yeah, and FCC is like a license for the radio frequency of something.
That every drone, every remote needs to have licensed. But there's misinformation and there's people out there trying to promote different drones that maybe that couldn't compete by creating fear that DJI is going to get banned and the government's going to come take your drones and all this stuff that is not going to happen.
I definitely don't think they're going to come take your drones. That's not what it's about. It's about new technology.
New technology, yep.
DJI is so big, we maybe don't want their new technology because who knows? I don't like it.
So the next 6 months will be interesting, but what are you doing next month?
I am hoping to be ripping and roaring on corn fungicide. Yep, it's starting to feel like it could happen. Got a call that there's one farmer that has 6,000 acres, and we'll see. There's a little uncertainty with corn fungicide. Like if you don't have a bunch of nice contracts lined up, it can just within a week switch from not doing anything to absolutely cranking. So I think we'll be there. And in another month, we'll probably be cranking, doing a lot of corn fungicide applications with our drones. Some beans, but mostly corn. So that's what I'll be up to. Flying the T60X, I am really starting to like it. Obviously, we've now released videos. Actually, probably, on Thursday. Yep. So we release videos on what I don't like about it, but there's a lot of things I do like about it. And the more I fly it, the less I want to fly a T50. Just because of maneuverability, how fast it flies, how much more it carries, just everything. You just start to like it more. Mm-hmm. And Jay was saying the same thing yesterday. We had one more 22-acre piece that we needed to get done, and we were like, well, do we want to fly, two T50s or the T60? And it's like, we're flying a T60. It was a long ferry. Yep. So, it flies faster to get there. It carries more. Everything about it. When flying it, it just makes sense.
After flying it like that for hours or doing a couple fields, what is your perspective on the weight of the battery? And would you go heavier than that, or is that about where you think?
Honestly, I wasn't feeling it on the battery weight, but I also would say I'm probably more physically in shape than other people are. But
was it?
Let's not kid ourselves. It sucks that it's 35 pounds.
35 pounds.
I mean, it sucks. Like, I'd love it to be 5 pounds, but it's not going to be 5 pounds. I mean, you're carrying a huge load. You need a big battery or multiple batteries. And in this case, it's a one battery system, 35 pounds. I don't know. I mean, it's just something you're going to have to deal with. Yeah.
So at somewhere between 50, 70 pounds, it's like, okay, now we're just in a different ballpark. Oh my
gosh. I don't think you can go much heavier than 35, 40 pounds. Yeah. I just don't think you can. Like, think about picking up a 50-pound dumbbell all day long, and say you're running 2 drones and you got a ground guy there and he's picking that thing up every 5 minutes. If you're doing it efficiently, every 5 minutes.
Isn't it interesting to think then that look into the future 5 years, and we now probably have drones that land on a specialized landing pad, and the robot swaps the battery because it's too heavy for a human to handle. That's probably. Don't know. I think that's 5 years away.
I know that you bring that up at times, but I just don't know how that's going to work. I mean, is he going to tumble off of the NuWay trailer?
The drone?
No, the robot, when he makes a wrong step.
Oh no, I think it's built into the landing pad.
It's not it's not like a walking robot. It's like one that you could have an arm just attached to the side of the trailer that's going to go and find the battery and pull it out. Like just
BYD. No, it was a different brand in China that they now have. They're building these like superchargers for electric cars, but they don't. Yeah, they do supercharged batteries, but they actually just swap your battery packs. So you drive in with this brand of car, and the robot comes from underneath, goes...
Make it clear that it's not everywhere doing this. Yes. It's like Mike, we're going to see drones everywhere in China. They're just watching us everywhere. Not true.
But it's actually production. Like, it's actually out there. Swap out that battery pack. A robot autonomously does it. And you can go with a fully charged in 5 minutes. That's new, different technology.
Yeah.
And that will eventually come over to drones at about the time that like we get drones that are as big. Then we needed to go further. We needed to carry more, but we can't with a 35-pound. That's a human limitation.
Yeah.
Swap in a robot and let's keep rolling.
Yeah. Put this on the record for 5 years from now. We'll see back and.
What else will happen in 5 years? Austin, what else will you see in 5 years in ag drones or thermal drones?
I would just like to keep going on that. I think that the robot thing is going to be totally a thing. And I'm not even seeing like a big machine attached to it doesn't have to be huge, but something that can just do some extra heavy lifting, like that's totally possible. I was touring a factory a couple of months ago where a guy completely built all the machinery that he needed to automatically make fry pies. So it's just like pressing the dough out and then folding it and then filling and then putting it all in packaging and everything like that. Just a complete automated system. And he designed it and came up with it and manufactured like you.
So we're gonna mount this like robot arm to the NuWay trailer.
That's a good idea. Just, like, and it'll be lying down.
If you get those sound effects too, that'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna make
And then it'll just come up, go over, use the little eye on it, vision, pick it up, put it over, extend into the charger, do the swap.
Okay. I could get on board.
Should we do it for 2026 or should we do it second quarter or fourth quarter of this year?
Wait, I bet there's somebody out there that builds these arms and it's like guys,
just buy our arm.
Yeah, we do this all day long. Actually, okay, yeah, that all right. I can see it now. Yeah.
The moment that the Tesla Optimus robot is released for pre-purchase, I'm buying one for the shop.
Oh, jeez.
Like, we're going to have that guy walking around. He's going to be greeting customers. He's going to be giving drinks to customers. He's going to be packing boxes.
There's no way you're going to make that thing greet customers. That would be embarrassing.
Oh, I think
we just talked about hospitality, and here we go. We're getting robots to do our hospitality.
He's going to come and say, do you want a bubbler or a water? What can I get you? He might go out and open your car door when you park.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, along with the battery swap, you could easily have fill too. Like, I think that it will get to a point where you're going to have a trailer that has your drones on it, and it's just more of a managing, like if you're a manager of a factory line, like you're just going to, have.
So that same arm should have a hose that you could just like spray.
Think about
liquid
what
into
AI
it.
is going to also bring into, like, if somebody gets a hold of this, where you'd even just rough boundary your field, and then your drone goes into that and uses its camera to figure out where the actual boundaries are, using AI to figure that out. Like you just kind of, here's kind of a rough area where my field is, and then you're just going to send it, and it's going to do its thing. Like,
I could see that. I mean, right now, the Mavic 4 Pro, did you see its active tracking? Oh, by the way, Landon was filming with that thing yesterday. He said it's sweet.
Okay, I was about ready to hear you say he crashed it yesterday.
No, I mean, if you crash that thing, if you have the LiDAR on and the vision sensing, it is hard.
Yeah.
Dude, I was flying it here, and it was hard to maneuver because like it was doing it on its own, like going around the tree. And now that you say that, like that drone could do that probably. You just give it a boundary. You say, hey, fly into there, and it will just maneuver around the trees.
Yeah.
If you use AI, it's going to get close to the tree as possible. It's going to be better than manually doing it.
Yep.
It's exciting times. Yep. We're just at the beginning.
Well, that's, opening up the possibility, the brain. Sometimes I get so focused on, I just got to get this corn sprayed, like hammer down. Oh, yesterday we're parked next to the road, NuWay trailer, right? Out there ripping with the T60X. Another trailer pulls up.
Nice.
Just
another NuWay trailer.
Another customer we sold a NuWay trailer to had no idea. Like they were around.
Out there getting it done.
It was just so crazy to be on this trailer making a video. Knowing that what I'm doing right now is why that guy has a NuWay trailer parked behind me is because he watched the videos that are being produced this moment. And now he has a custom applicating business.
Yep. And he's out there getting the acres. Good for him.
Yeah. He said he has about 1,000 acres under his belt now. And he said, now I feel like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
It's just so crazy.
I was just a couple weeks ago driving. So my house is like hour, 20 minutes here. So about an hour away from here along 16, I saw another drone rig passing me coming the other direction.
Or was it
it was a NuWay trailer. Didn't recognize the truck. So somebody else.
What color truck was it?
I think maybe like black.
Okay. Yeah, this was a white truck.
Yeah. So just guys out doing it. The drone's tied on top,
Yeah, I think that it will just become common. You will drive down the road and just see drones everywhere.
When DJI was visiting us a couple weeks ago, they said they've seen NuWay trailers in California.
Yeah. When I went out there, met with Talos, he said the same thing.
So DJI, like, in there, you had conversations about your trailer, your setup, or like, what are people doing over there for efficiency? Like, do they really think about that, or is it more
they build, we want to do that. Build a Tesla truck thing. They build stuff on pickup trucks, a lot of pickup truck stuff, not trailers.
Imagine eliminating the need for a generator because your electric truck
is for real.
Almost like get you going for a day's worth of...
Can you imagine? No generator?
Wait, what?
Yeah, you just charge off of your truck. That's
Reason
what they're doing.
364 that you need to buy a Cybertruck.
No way. I thought about that last season when I was spraying in Indiana and about 5,000 acres in. I'm like, man, it would be nice to just fly these and actually hear the drones flying and no hum of the generators. But, man, I didn't think about that coming that quickly.
Yeah, well, they're doing it already over there. Anyhow.
And then the more normal setup from what we saw was a little like box truck.
Yep.
Like, how would you describe it, or what size is it?
Yeah, it'd probably be like a 16-foot box truck, 16-foot little box truck. But they have the trucks that have like the noses cut off.
Yeah. And it's enclosed. It's enclosed, and there's a pallet of chemical in there, right? It looks like pre-mixed chemical.
Yeah, no, I don't know what that was. That was like a homemade situation where they mix up. I'm glad we don't have that.
I think what we saw was like made for one person, and so it had like a lift system to be able to lift the drone without it being so heavy for one person, and it would like swing over, and you could drop it or like winch it up and put it into the truck.
Yeah.
But most people would probably still be spraying off of the ground.
Yeah.
Over there.
Yep.
And sometimes off of the main road.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally.
Why not? If somebody crashes into you, it's their fault. So deal with it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Totally.
China was fun.
Yeah.
No, this was fun. I just feel like I feel bad like that we can't talk about everything, but we will one day.
We can't talk about everything, but we can say that we're really excited about the future.
Yep. And it's going to be nuts what's coming.
We're really excited, and it is something that will it'll keep transforming how we do ag.
Yes.
And it will push the limits of what you think is possible with drones.
I agree.
And
maybe robots will be swapping our batteries. I see that now.
Sweet.
Yeah. Alrighty.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. This was This Week in Drone Nudes and on the DroneOn podcast.
Yeah, I don't have more to add other than thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.